There are a lot of great Brony reviewers and reactors and analysts out there on the internet, but it's hard to sing their praises when the people that you place on your list of the best ever keep quitting YouTube or leaving the fandom or not being around for one reason or another. There are a few bronies who over time I have been fascinated by their OCs enough to keep coming back to them and wanting to tell little fan stories about them within the Sims universe. And sadly, even those two have seen those guys fall out of the fandom and just sort of disappear someplace where I never hear from them. And in the case of Brony Burning Axe and his relationship with Nature's Fury, I've found the story of his OC to be particularly fascinating. One may ask, what is it that I like about Brony Burning Axe? And I think what it really comes down to, aside from all of the other little things, is the fact that he tells an interesting backstory to his character. Yeah, he's got the personality and the fun little catchphrases and the nice intro and outro and all of that other stuff. I absolutely love the way he ends his video with the bro hoof and the muffin and the derpy and all that stuff. Most people just have OCs, if they do OCs at all. But only a small number of people do OCs with backstories. And of those few people who do OCs with backstories, only a very small number of them are still active in the fandom. Brony Burning Axe has a very fascinating backstory about living in a cave in the Everfree Forest and being this awesome guitar player. I find that interesting, and it gives me inspiration to tell stories with his character and send him on little adventures. Of course, my chosen media is The Sims, since I'm not that capable of doing SFMs like everybody else, due to either technical reasons or just the lack of knowledge of how to even do that program. I choose The Sims to tell my stories. At first it was just because my computer couldn't run SFM and I only had The Sims as an outlet. Now I have a new computer, and with that new computer I could potentially maybe run SFM finally, but I just haven't invested the time into learning it. Also, with this new computer, I've lost the family information and the save data from The Sims 2, forcing me to restart the story. And if I'm going to restart The Sims, I might as well restart with The Sims 3 because it's a much more advanced thing, and my old computer could never run The Sims 3. It could only run The Sims 2. Now that I can run The Sims 3, I might as well get invested in it. And that means starting everything over again. And with thousands of bronies out there, my priorities in creating Sims goes to the main 6 and the supporting cast. I've been long in debate over whether or not I should even put bronies back into the Sims world, because bronies are always dropping out of the fandom. We've lost Dib and Tate and Digibro and Tommy Oliver, and other characters like Camdos Pony have also been very absent and very infrequent in their posting. I've been hesitant in adding all of these other characters because I'm not sure what I would do with all of them. But with someone like Brony Burning Axe, that has been a character that I've been passionate about his design, his backstory, his relationships, enough that I feel like I absolutely have to include this fascinating character back into my world. Even though it's a lot of work, even though it uses up space, even though it uses up time, even though I'm not even committed to adding other bronies to this world, I absolutely have to have Brony Burning Axe in The Sims 3. And you know, he's gone through a lot of issues lately, and I can't truly relate. I mean, everybody gets depressed once in a while. Even I have had feelings of depression. But it's the sort of depression that within 24 hours or less, you snap out of it and you find the ability to make yourself happy. I can never truly understand this other form of depression that people feel in their lives, other than the fact that it's taken some of my favorite reviewers from me, and the world no longer has the amazing, fun, lovable, enjoyable talents of the likes of Drew Wario and Robin Williams, and many other fascinating, important people who were very much beloved and are no longer with us. I don't know exactly what to do about these types of situations, except to say I can also reference you back to the one thing that keeps me going, and that's the Anime Atomic Party. They have a very important line in that series. It says, "As long as I have one fan, it's worth it." And with a channel like mine where I barely have any views at all and have almost no subscribers, and out of those very few subscribers, I only have one or two who constantly comment on my videos, and even they don't watch everything I make. I feel it's important to say that as long as you only have one fan, everything you're doing is worth it. The other thing that I have in the form of advice is that, okay, so you don't trust professionals. There's a member of the Brony fandom who is not a professional doctor. He is actually a real-life accountant. But he gives excellent advice and makes some of the most amazing videos. And that is Dr. Wolf. He has been helping members of the fandom by listening to their problems and giving them advice and sitting down and having talks with him. Now, he may be incredibly busy and he may have a hard time booking him to talk to him, especially if you don't already know him. But if you have Skype and can get involved in his Skype group, you might be able to eventually win him over to having a conversation. I haven't been able to book him myself personally, but maybe you'll have more luck. I would definitely suggest trying to get a moment with Dr. Wolf, or at the very least listening to some of Dr. Wolf's videos that he's made over the course of time. I think you should have a sit down with him and talk things out and try to see if his talking about and his listening to you talk about it helps you get through whatever problems you're having. And I imagine the session will go something a little bit like this.
I can certainly agree with that. MLP has this uncanny ability to lift my spirits after a hard day, and the Brony community has this welcoming and understanding atmosphere quite unlike anything I've seen on the internet thus far. I can personally attest to all the uplifting and creative spirit this fandom generates. I know that I've found much more purpose and meaning to my free time. The reason why this community has such a marvelous effect on its fans is the fact that we keep paying it forward. I have been putting this message into so many of my videos, and I'd honestly like to see our fandom grow in a positive light. In my experiences, the best long-term cure for depression actually comes from putting aside one's own needs and dedicating yourself to uplifting others. Allowing yourself to become bored and/or lonely while depressed tends to make the effects far worse. Being idle draws your mind deeper into self-loathing and despair. I am thoroughly glad to hear that your friend has found so much joy by taking part in the Brony community. But I would hope that you'd tell your friend how much she is needed to help uplift others now, just as she had been lifted up in the ways you've told me. It is more than just paying it forward. It is about finding a more lasting way to temper one's depression and ease the effects. It can, and really should, take a while. But if there's one thing I've learned about life and what's worth living for, is that the greatest rewards oftentimes require the greatest sacrifices to achieve. Depression can be unwavering. It will grab hold and cut you to the core. It can drag you down to the deepest pits of despair and never want to let go. But it can also teach you how to persevere. It can help you be an example for others. The fact that you oftentimes have to fight it on a daily basis can make you stronger and wiser than you've ever been before. It will hurt. But if you can learn to put aside your own needs and start living for those you care for, then, just like so many of the relatable characters in MLP overcoming their struggles and inspiring the audience who watches them, you too can have that passion and drive that inspires those who are in need. You believe that your spirits have been lifted by both MLP and the Brony fandom? You believe that following the example of these characters has made you into a better person? Show yourself and the world just how true that is, through living it and inspiring other people by your deeds. In my humble experiences, that is without a doubt the best cure for depression. Not by abolishing it from your life, but learning from it. Do you think you can do that?
And really, that's all I have to say about it. Depression isn't something that I know a whole lot about, so all I can do is sort of sit here and be confused by it and not fully understand it. But what I can say, and hopefully it encourages you, is that I really enjoy the work that you do, and I'd miss it if it wasn't around. The fact that I've been excited about adding you to The Sims Free when there are literally thousands of other bronies who could be added to this world also should speak for something about how my opinion of how much I consider you important is. Because I could literally spend my own free time creating any number of other Sims. And I've chosen to add you to this world of limited space instead of creating Tommy Oliver or Digibro or Silvertwill or I Love Kim Possible a lot or any of the many others. You've actually taken priority in my free time to be part of this world that I'm going to be returning to and telling stories in. If I didn't think you were interesting or you weren't worth my time, I simply wouldn't create your character. Or I would create your character, but I wouldn't invest any time into creating his house. The fact that I want Brony Burning Axe to be in this world, that I want him included, should say something. Thank you for watching, and good night.